we eventually passed on this deal, I think, on the hope that Standard would pull through. So, but if we had to sell it would.
So how much have you been offered? Do you have an answer to that?
Please let me not answer that question.
Please do. we are curious. This is where you heal, by talking about it.
No, it healed. I think.
Okay.
I think I'm just not comfortable.
Okay, would you be riding a yacht in the ad if you got that?
We then decided is that this we can't serve everyone. So how do we niche down? So we decided, okay, we're going to go with making it easy to reconcile payments and receive payments wherever you want it. We looked at, we can serve the small businesses still. That would be an option. But we realized that one of the things that was also problematic with smaller businesses is that they can make decisions snap. They can make a snap decision to use your tool now, and they can make the same decision to move out like exactly the same moment. You have to find a product that helps you cross. Like when Apple started, what they did is just had they were entering a market that is already saturated.
Yeah.
But what they did is just had white earplugs.
And you can see.
You could see visual.
Yeah, this one's different.
This is different.
Yeah.
And that's how they crossed over. So you almost need a product that
stands
other people
out.
can use, that stands out, or but can still be used. Somebody can look at it and it's like, okay, discoverability is high.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's what we are trying to do with our product. I think distribution.
Yeah. And then is like M-changa a competitor to you, or?
They are. I think in a sense they are. I think the way we look at ourselves is that there's two ways in which you deal with problem of group collection. So there are closed groups, like I and 6 people. They are not going to be 7th person. They're just a chama of 6.
Yeah.
So that place, M-changa doesn't do well.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. Yeah, you're right.
Now, there's another place where I just want to raise money from
an event.
From a lot of people.
Yeah.
M-changa does that
perfectly well.
Now, what we've done is that we bring all those together. So you can do it for your small groups, 5 people, and you can do
when
it
you have it like an event.
So in a sense, they are, if you look at it from the segment of like fundraising. But if you look at it from generally, because there are two spectrum we look at it. So bookkeeping, or just how do you record transaction, reconciliation, and ease of raising money, or ease of collecting money. So M-changa will do well in ease of collecting money, but not too well in how do I reconcile the data and transparency. So it doesn't do that well.
Hey, welcome back to 925 with Wangari, where we discuss entrepreneurs in Kenya and the continent. And today I have an exciting guest who is in the fintech space, doing collection and payments. So starting with intros, Karibu, Elvis.
Asante, Wangari. My name is Elvis, co-founder at Nobuk. Nobuk helps groups collect funds seamlessly and generally help any type of group. So it could be funerals, could be a fundraiser, it could be a chama. So we generally help you collect funds, reconcile payments, and just share that information with group members. Yeah, that's what we do.
Awesome. And he's also apparently Chris's really good friend.
We've known each other since first year.
First year.
In a programming class, Java programming.
Yes. 2006, I think.
Yeah. And you're the one who encouraged him to start writing.
Oh.
So he wouldn't be here without you.
I honestly don't remember that story.
I remember it very well. Mm-hmm. We were hanging out at Nyam's place.
Nyam's. Big
Nyambane,
up, man.
he was...
Oh, Nyambane, the real Nyambane?
No, this is... No, he's a classmate. Uh-huh. And I think he was the only one who had a computer in our class. So we used to go and do programming assignments. And then after that, people would do a lot of crazy stuff after that. So then after finishing dance, I think Elvis used to pass by. So we used to meet at Nyambane's place. And then, so one day I think I told him like, okay, all this crazy stuff I do is going to get me into trouble one day. Then it was like a good way of, instead of cutting off those crazy things, you can take those crazy ideas and put them on paper. Yeah.
And that's where it all started. Thank you. We appreciate his craziness. I guess delving into, you're an entrepreneur. I think you've been doing this for quite a while. I'd love to know where the journey started up to like Nobuk.
Interesting. Yeah. I think I consider myself to be an entrepreneur, I think, for life. I can't remember a time that I wasn't doing anything entrepreneurial. I think even in campus, one of the things that brought us together was we were doing a lot of entrepreneurship stuff, different levels, yeah. But I think seriously, we started a business. My first business, I think I was about maybe 25 or 24 or thereabout. When I started my first business, when I look at it now, I don't think it was really a business. I think it was more like a hobby. I think we had very strong tech. Chris was assisting with a lot of data engineering, data mining stuff. I was doing a lot more commercial and building stuff. But I think it never really took off for a number of reasons. One of them is I think we just didn't understand what we were selling or what the product was.
What was the product? What was it called? What do I want to know?
Elvis is living out the sweet part.
Okay, that's why you're here, Chris. That's why you're here.
Yeah. So I think it already written about this a while back. It is we were leaving campus and we were living outside campus. So when we were leaving out of campus, I was trying to find a book which I'd read in high school, but I couldn't remember the title. And then Elvis told me like, hey, how about we build a system that helps people with similar problems? So I went back to the house. To me, I was just watching movies. Then next day in the morning, Elvis was like, we have an idea. We're going to build a system where people can ask questions and they get answers.
Wow, ChatGPT.
Yeah, this is the era of ask.com.
Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves.
There was, what was that? Google Baraza.
Yeah. There's a lot of, I don't know, call it social media or Q&A discussion boards that were there. And it found when I was doing, was it AI? It was data mining in campus. And I was like, hey, we can use that idea of data mining to build this system. If we can index websites that have these answers and people can ask. Yeah. And then I remember Elvis, the next day, Elvis was like, I have money. He was into selling anything that could be sold.
So the proper salesman.
If you go, the mandazis being sold in tuck shops, posters for people vying for those seats.
Airtime.
Wow.
Like anything. So
true entrepreneurial spirit. Huh?
Then he was like, I've saved some money. I'm ready for a business. And it was like, we need an office. We need a website. We need to register this thing. I'm like, hey, can we just explore this thing? Then I think within a week, Elvis had gotten an office. And then...
Whoa.
Then I remember he asked me to recruit software engineers for the building the website. Then I remember recruiting Ishua, who now works at Microsoft. I was like, hey, we're trying to build this awesome thing. We're going to be the next Steve Jobs. Then Ishua joined and a couple of other people joined. And within two weeks or less, we had like an MVP product with the whole team. But I remember, so the product was called Kwetha. Kwetha. It's supposed to be Kikuyu for search or look.
Oh, okay.
No, I remember we same walk from university. Elvis stopped some random guy and asked him, how do you say search in your mother tongue? Yeah. That guy said Kwetha. Then Elvis said, this is kwetha.com.
That's so cool.
Then he bought the domain. And to me, it was just like, I just want to have fun. But I think at some point, if I remember the stats, it was the 8th most visited website in Kenya.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were, I think we were really great at execution. The problem was really commercializing. I think we really didn't know how we could commercialize it then. I think ads, we didn't understand a lot. I think we just had a beautiful product that we didn't know how to sell.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I call it like almost like a hobby, because we looked through how do we commercialize. So we ended up building, I think, another one, pricelist.com, and another one.
I think you've told me about that one where you guys were looking at the different prices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was also another traffic. I don't know. There were, I think, a lot of products that we built. One thing we never really got good at is how do we commercialize all this. I think even with the Google Baraza, when Google Baraza came, I think we were probably the top, company that was answering most of those questions.
Oh, wow.
Back then, I think it's hard to get it now, but back then Google was not as good as it is.
Yeah.
I think you would really search for things. The number of things we did, we built a back-end engine that was just...
Now that you mention, I remember a lot of awesome things that we did where, like, if someone asks a question on Twitter, we would answer him and then put a link to the full answer on the website.
Oh, wow.
So it created a lot of traffic
to the website.
To the website. And then every month would release top questions, something like that people would, a top question people have asked with their answers.
Yeah.
And then those would go into the website, and those was like a magazine format. And then you could search, like if you search where is, I don't know, where...
fumigation services,
where do I get fumigation services in Nairobi? Which is the cheapest phone? Which shop is the most expensive in this and that? So they're all cataloged.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think the technology back then, I think there was also a lot of manual stuff that we did, but obviously I think the key there was that we just couldn't find a way to commercialize it well. And down the line, I think that is what failed that business. So eventually we were unable to sustain it.
Yeah.
And then
how long was it running for?
2-3 years, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2-3 years. When that shut down, I consulted a bit. I think other than building business, I've also just been consulting, I think, my entire career. So after that, after consulting for like 2 years, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go into another business.
Yeah.
This one was a little different. We were doing ads, mobile phone. This was like a mobile phone ad network. So you'd get an ad on your phone. I think that's just after Android. I just come in. So you basically watch an ad and get paid.
Nice.
So it was like
Bring
very
that back.
straight. It was a very straightforward business. Get advertisers, and then they pay.
Oh, wow.
One thing that... so I think one big mistake we did...
was Chris in this business as well?
He assisted with, I think, a bit of some data work there. Yeah, but one of the biggest problem I think we had is we started looking for partners.
Okay.
Obviously, I think as a technology provider, we don't have access to ad networks. So we were looking for ad networks to partner with. And one of the biggest mistake I think even today that I look at is that we had this exclusivity deal with Standard Group. That was a painful one. But I think essentially what it meant is that we couldn't sell this technology to any other company, like
apart from
them. Like they were the only people who could use it.
Oh no!
It was a good.
And you signed off on that?
Yes, we did. Okay. And I think in retrospect, I think that was one of the biggest mistakes we did. Okay. Now, it means that if they do not follow on selling, you are dead.
Your business is gone, yeah.
So eventually I think there was also a bit of change in leadership for the digital team. I think it was Standard around that time. that meant the priority that they were giving was dropped quite a bit. Now, I think just before we entered that agreement, I think there was someone willing to buy the company. That was, it's a very interesting case.
Mention the dollars.
How much are they willing to buy the company? What was the name of the company by then?
Our company is called mobi-ads.
Mobi-ads, okay.
Mobi-ads,
So mobile.
The product was called Royalty King.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we eventually passed on this deal, I think, on the hope that Standard would pull through. So, but if we had to sell it would.
So, how much have you been offered? Do you have an answer to that?
Please let me not answer that question.
Please do. we are curious. This is where you heal, by talking about it.
No, it healed. I think.
Okay.
I think I'm just not comfortable.
Okay, would you be riding a yacht in Diani if you got that?
How would your life be if you...
With not like life-changing money, but I think by that time, one of the other thing is that we had like 4 shareholders. Like, so it wasn't like
all your
small money, but it wasn't like also be a lot of money as well. So, but it would have been a good start.
Yeah.
It would have been better than...
You could have retired and become a VC.
I don't think so. I was too young. I think I was too eager then. Probably found another thing. Yeah, but it was some good money. So we left that, went into this Standard partnership. Eventually, we had the numbers. I think it brought in, I think at some point we were running, I think about 100,000 users.
Oh, wow.
I think about 40,000 active users daily, ads. So it was an awesome network. The problem, I think, then was conversion. Because it tended, I think the product, when I look back at it, the product would tend to appeal to a certain demographic. I think the demographic that it would appeal to are not the people with buying power, you'd say.
Yeah.
Because if I'm watching ads to be paid, then...
That's big money in my hand that I didn't have,
It is money in your hand, but it means also your buying power is relatively not people, advertisers would actually want to advertise to. So that was one aspect of that business that didn't do well. Eventually, we started turning into news and so on, but I think we were so tied with this contract, we couldn't actually sell it. By the end of 2 years, I think what they ended up doing is they just absorbed it into their business, gave us some small money, and then...
Was it smaller money than what you were offered?
Too small, but... Yeah. Yeah, but...
Sorry to laugh at your challenges.
No, I think it's a good lesson. Eventually, I think Kama also is, Google shut down that type of business, so you could no longer build apps for advertising. So, somehow. Yeah, so I think a year after they took that thing, Google also changed their rules around ads and apps that do ads. So it effectively rendered that app redundant in a way. So somehow, but we gained something.
Was there any money offered for Kwetha investor?
No, I don't think we were even looking.
Yeah. You guys are just having fun.
Yeah, I think that's why I call it like the first one must have been a hope, because I don't think we really were serious about how to commercialize, how to get money. We had crazy views, like we had, but I don't think we just had a way to commercialize it then. But then also back then, I think the avenues for commercializing were just ads. I don't think there were too many.
Yeah.
So it was just like, how do we do ads? We didn't want to do like Google ads on our website. So that was like something we didn't want.
Yeah.
But what other way could we commercialize? Yeah. So in short, I don't think we never had any offers on Kwetha or any of those products. Too bad.
So after
I think after mobi-ads, I think I also took a little bit of a break.
So this is
joint
a pattern.
consultancy.
You build, you take a break, you build.
I think by the time you're done with one, you don't have any energy. Like you just want, like you need to sort of build up capital. You also need to build up, I think, the energy to do it. Building is actually hard business. So I think with joint consultancy, I worked for World Bank for a bit, and then at the end of that, I decided I wanted to serve small businesses, so I started another one. This one, I think my whole journey, like my product journey has always been about automation. Like if you think about the first product I built, the last one has always been just about automation. So this one was, how do we help small business automate operations? Taxes, operations like payroll and things like those. But I think just a few months into it, I saw this poster, like Antler, like there's this accelerator or venture builder where you can actually build this. So I ended up winding that up, I think, because by that time, I think I came to the realization that building a business by yourself is hard.
It's difficult.
It's very difficult. So building it in a community helps. Most importantly, building it with another co-founder or a founder helps a lot, because you can't have everything. You can't have all the skill set. You can't have all the resources you need. So you need to think about it strategically. I think that was the next evolution. Like, how do you now build like a venture-backed business? Out of all those experiences. So essentially, that's how I joined Antler. After program, I think it's a 3 months program. After that, I met my co-founder there, Yani from South Africa. So I met her there. We felt we could do this thing together. We were aligned, I think, in terms of like complementarity of skills and basically disposition. We worked well. So that's how we formed Nobuk and started building for small businesses. Again, like 2.0. It's I think having run many other multiple small businesses, you tend to realize that they actually have a lot of problems that technology could solve. But sometimes they don't, either they're not aware of it, or it's also just hard work to also do it. So if you're building a business and you have you're only one person, you don't have time to go and do bookkeeping. Like all the books run in your head, and sometimes you write receipts and things like that. So we thought, okay, if you could build a tool that could help them at least take off this, eventually you build up the data, that then you can access credit, you can access all these other things. That was, I think, the thinking going in to building Nobuk. That was 2 years ago. Yes, 2 years ago. But then I think in the middle you realize that you have very good plans, but I think the market also have.
These are just the major ideas, because I swear I've seen other fully built
systems. No, I actually automate stuff. Like when I have free time on my hand, I build things. So things, some of them go somewhere, some of them don't.
There's a betting system that died.
Betting? What happened to the betting system?
So it's a fun project. So one of the things I think I've always been fascinated about is if you can actually play the house, like if you can win against the house, it is always. I always think that there should be a way in which you can beat the betting house.
Yeah.
So I built a website called Adrestia. Adrestia is goddess of justice, I think.
Hey.
So so I was thinking of it like in terms of like if we can give everyone who is betting a tools to bring this very fanciful ideas.
Very intellectual.
It was very intellectual, but I think the general idea is if you can predict the outcome of games somehow, then you'd be able to offer these people who lose a lot of money things. Because one of the thing that actually struck me most is when you look at people who bet, not even like just the industry. There was a time you'd go into CBD and there are people with printed papers, like a stack of printed papers with odds.
Oh, wow.
Like, and they're sold for like 20. Like the time before that, people would just buy newspaper to get the odds.
Yeah.
And then this newspaper vendor realized, there's a huge market here.
Let me
Why
sell
don't you
this.
just print this page, photocopy this page, and then sell it?
Yeah.
Like separately. And it's a huge business even now. I think after Matiangi things, it went down a bit, but now it's picking back up.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, a lot of people are losing money here. Like, is there a way to help them not lose too much?
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah.
Even the odds.
So actually, the first system was actually an arbitrage. Like, generally, how do you place odds in a way that you don't lose?
Oh, okay.
So you place the tool would place a best for you in one company and another counter bet in another company in a way that you maximize on the margins. That became untenable with the taxes. Like the taxes in Kenya are crazy.
Yeah.
So you can't place. Like even if you place it, like even if there's a margin in terms of odds, the taxes will cut that off. So there's actually no gain there.
Oh, no.
So eventually, I think when that came into play, you realized, okay, there's no way to do this arbitrage, try prediction and so on. Limited success, but I think it's an on and off thing. It's still back in my mind is like, if I get a tool, sometimes I use LLMs to try and predict and see if there's anything out there. But eventually,
Majani.
No, they've never met.
Yeah.
But he knows Majani.
I know Majani.
He has a Kadi-Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simplistic thing. I think the way I think about it is that this one I think is more like a fun project. It's like one of those things you do.
I think, remember, we were discussing Kadi-Pro with you, and your idea was Majani should not limit it to playing cards. It should be able to play any games. To him, he just has a platform that people can play any game.
Okay.
So if you want to play checkers,
Oh,
you want to play Bano, if you want to play whatever it is, so that it becomes, that's where the skill.
You scale it. I think because the problem is that the versions of games are very many. Like so it means that you have to develop the game as a platform provider, and you also have to provide the technology associated with it. Yeah. But eventually, what you're aiming at is how do this person place a bet and this person place a bet? Yeah. This is really what you're gaming at. So why don't you go to that directly and just leave the platform to be whatever I want? Like if I want to say, okay, Arsenal is going to win, then it's going to win.
Yeah.
Let's just be there.
We'd like people to bet, like, will it rain tomorrow? And then, because you allow people to, technically you should be able to bet about anything.
You should.
Majani, if you're watching this, make sure we send it to him.
Yeah, I would love it where things like games take time. You have to see people play.
Yeah.
Or you can bet on very basic things like, will Ruto mention the word hustler in his next speech?
Oh, yeah.
So something very simple that you can easily say yes or no, or the system can easily check that out and say this. So like, okay.
But I'm sure he has also checked those things. I think there's always cost benefit. I think the problem with going too wide is that you also get a slither of customers. So you somehow also need to narrow down. So I'm sure he has looked at those. If he hasn't, well, could be something to try out. But yeah.
Awesome. So that one sounds like it's still going on, but it's just like...
Yeah, we're still looking
It's a
for
passion
the
project.
way to beat it, to beat the house somehow. It's a passion project, so it's not like something that is serious. I have to mention, I think at some point I thought I was going to be good live, and then this site changed the whole... See, the way we build automation is on the website. So we built everything. We are ready to launch. On the day we are supposed to push the button, the site has changed. I'm like,
The what changed?
they changed their website.
Oh.
They revamped their website. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
Oh,
The bots no longer work.
the bots will no longer
damn.
work, and yeah, but we're still working. You know that cartoon? I think it used to be Animaniacs. Like,
Animaniacs.
Yeah.
So another day we'll change the world. Like the brain.
Just keep trying.
Keep trying. Yeah.
And then is that else that is missed? Clearly is.
What have I missed?
So there's the...
Oh, what he does? He has a garage.
Like, what type of garage?
Automotive garage, like.
Oh, automotive. Okay.
Yeah,
Just
but
checking.
mostly
You are Chris's friend.
Yeah. I think I'm very handsy. Like, I like touching things. So I used to watch this Mash Auto thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Actually, like my
I
show.
really want a customer, like a garage where I customize stuff. So started that.
Pimp my ride.
The problem, pay my ride. Actually, that was the program. I'm like, these are the kind of things I want to do. But it's, I think it takes a lot of time. You have to build the capacity. Running garage, you realize, like, how do you get the skills right? How do you get the quality right all the time? Those are really hard things, especially if you're not there all the time.
Yeah.
They're really... Quality control, I think, is the biggest thing, especially for garages. Yeah. Especially if you're doing like refinishing, like paint work and so on. Paint work, I think, is the most expensive, like in terms of labor, not in terms of like cash, but in terms of like labor, very expensive in terms of the time it requires, in terms of the effort it requires.
The fitness.
So those ones, I think it really needs a lot of quality control, because I'm not going to spend this amount of money if you can't guarantee me 3 years, 5 years on the paint job. So you need to take a lot of that. And then, but ultimately, you find that building such handsy business is really hard. So I'm still looking for a way out. If you have someone to buy me out.
I have a platform for that, but not someone to buy me out.
Perfect. Like it's really hard.
I've just remembered. I think it was second year, and we did the unit digital electronics, and then it was a unit about how to create circuit boards, ICs, and how to configure them to come up with some circuitry. And then Elvis was like, "Hey, we can take a normal padlock like the tricycle or the other one, and then we replace it with some electronics. It can only be opened digitally."
Nice.
I remember that crazy idea. And then some guy in the class came and found us, like, trying to sketch what it would look like. Then he was like, "You're wasting your time with this thing." I think Elvis was like, "I'm going to prove him wrong." I don't know I don't know what happened to it. You were supposed to go somewhere to industrial area, I think, get that key cut, and then figure out how to...
I learned a lot of things along I think I've built a lot of IoTs that way. Because I think that's the time we saw K-Technics and these other local companies that help with building chip parts and so on. So it helped me. I didn't eventually build the padlock, but but that is a journey. I think I started doing fabrication work when I was probably in Form 2 or something like that.
Yes, this has been a passion.
I think I'm all over the place. But anything automation, anything, whether hardware automation or software automation, I've been something.
You're the guy.
It's always fun to me.
Awesome.
So over those years, I've seen Dexter level madness.
Like this friend of mine.
No, he's the crazy one.
No. I remember was it 2011? When still running Kwetha. I think it just when I bought the the
IDEOS.
IDEOS.
Oh, I see that video on you.
No, let's go. Yeah, say some words, Chris. But like Chris, this is my brand new IDEOS Huawei U815 brand from Safaricom with an offer. You can see it. I'm extremely happy. This is my first smartphone. No, my first.
And I was still fascinated by it every day. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing is always to check Twitter. Twitter was great at that point.
Yeah.
Then I wake up.
Prime years.
No, I think I woke up at about 4 a.m. I think something happened. I couldn't sleep. Then when I checked Twitter, Steve Jobs had died.
Oh, no.
And then I was like, whoa! And then at that time, a lot of the things I was reading was like how Steve Jobs built his company, blah, 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 reading his life. So the first thing I texted, Elvis, you won't believe what happened. Steve Jobs just died. Then I went to sleep. Then I woke up in the morning checking Twitter. Then I saw a tweet from Elvis. You know your friend is a nerd when they wake you up with the news that when they send you a text at 4 a.m. that Steve Jobs has died. Anyway, I think we did have time for. We had time, so everything else we just wake up and I remember having that big Java book and wake up in the morning.
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember Java in a nutshell. Is that the one?
Can't even
Something
remember.
such.
Can't remember the name. And now you want to. That time there were no Stack Overflow. I think wasn't there.
Oh no! Hey, those are tough times coding in those days.
Yeah. You have to be good or
Right
or
now, I think
not
if
a
I coded
coder.
that big, like there's so much stuff online. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was doing like with the LLMs, ChatGPT and stuff. Yeah, like put it there. First check Stack Overflow.
Yeah.
Push it to ChatGPT, refine it a bit.
Production.
Too easy. So I guess now you're currently running Nobuk. I'm really curious to understand your Antler journey. How that went. I know Chris and I have talked about this, like trying to hire for
Accelerator program.
accelerators. Are they really,
Worth it.
worth it? Like it sounded like you have a lot of experience. I'm curious, like, yeah.
I think
Your
you have
journey.
to first to know what you want when joining an accelerator. I think there are things that accelerators give you that you can't build bootstrapping. So I think that has to be very clear for you. I think if it's clear, I don't think you have that mismatched.
So what are these things the accelerator can give you that?
One is if you're looking for a co-founder, I think accelerator are a great place.
Why didn't you choose this guy to be a co-founder?
We have the same. We have the same disabilities.
No, I think I think complementarity. I think maybe that's what he's saying.
I don't think that's what he's saying.
No, yeah, because I'm not good at that.
We are good at the same things.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
like you're duplicating. So then what about the overlapping roles that then you have to
Okay,
to do?
got you.
Now, I think that is one thing that I think maybe not as accelerator per se, I would say a venture builder, because I think Antler is more like a venture builder. They have an acceleration program, but they also like help business, like basically start you off ground. Now, I'll talk about the venture building part because I think that's the program that we went through. So you go in, find 30 people in their founders who at least want to be founders, stellar backgrounds, and so on. You match up.
You match up.
Yeah, usually I think the whole program is just about
It's
running
Tinder for
micro
tech.
sprints.
Oh, Tinder for tech. Okay.
Yeah.
So you basically run
Swipe left, right.
sprints. Essentially, yeah, like if you look at it, like it's something similar to that. So you find somebody you can work with, ideally somebody with complementary skills, If you then gravitate towards an idea, then you can build that up together.
So you
But
didn't
it's
go
a
in with
match.
an idea already?
No.
Oh, okay.
You actually don't go. Most people don't go in with an idea. I think you sprint through a number of ideas. Like first week, I think it must have been M-Pesa challenge. Like, how do you disrupt M-Pesa? Another week is another thing. Like, it's a lot of challenges. I believe the idea behind that is so that you can find someone to work. Because those first weeks, actually the first year, it's not about the product you're building, it's about the team.
Yeah.
So it's just about the motions that get you to the right partner. So this sprint will do this with this number of people, another one, until you get to, I think, a stage where you find you're comfortable working with someone.
Yeah.
Because I think building, especially, and I think that could be the problem and also be the advantage of an accelerator program. I think the Antler program, bringing those together, I think basically the idea is you can find someone you can work with, someone who's also passionate about something. But I think those first phases are not necessarily about an idea. Sometimes it happens that you land on an idea that is fundable.
Yeah.
But in most cases, it will be that they'll probably fund a team that they believe will win.
Okay, nice.
And I think that's probably what happened to us, because I think we went into, so they have like this brigade. So you do like a presentation of a product, what we call investment committee or pre-investment committee, and then another one, the main investment committee, where they bring other VCs to basically evaluate the team and the product. So I think I remember the product we presented in the last IC, the investment committee, I think we had only thought about it for like 4 days or 3.
Oh, nice.
So I'm certain it wasn't about the product, but I think they saw that maybe there was a lot of complementarity in the teams or chemistry that would work. Now, I think sometimes... I think that's how it evolved. We got funding. We built that product.
How much funding
for a
did you
year.
get?
Back then, I think right now they're doing 100,000 USD for like 10%. But the details are on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, so we built that for a year. Then I think when you're building a product, the product that we ended up building was basically to help SMEs or micro and small businesses to effectively manage their businesses.
Yeah, businesses, yeah.
Yeah, so think of invoicing, think of messaging or CRM, think about like just like tracking payments.
Yeah.
So our app would read in your M-Pesa messages and pass them and then tell you how much you've made and so on.
Yeah.
It was almost like an automated way of entering, because we realized that previously what people would do is just enter, like I've sold 20 shillings and so on.
You have a spreadsheet. And
but you already, that money is coming to M-Pesa. Why don't you just track it, read the data and then pass it and then track it that way? So we ended up building that. We eventually couldn't find a sustainable traction for that product. I think the SME market, the micro and small, especially, the micro and small is very interesting.
Slippery.
Slippery is the word.
maybe slippery. Actually, slippery is the word.
Yeah.
I think if you look at, trends across, like anyone who was our competitor doing the same thing 1 year ago is no longer doing the same thing.
No longer doing the same thing, yeah.
We looked locally. Then when we were building, someone was telling us like one of the companies that we're looking at was like Keeper. I think they pivoted to something completely different now. We're looking locally. There was a company called Patika. I was doing the same thing. I think they also pivoted collection. There are a lot of people. I think it's an interesting space, but I think the tooling, I don't know, there's something that is still not right, I think, to serve the market.
How about competition? I think there's so many payment.
Yeah.
Like the other time, looking at Shukran.
It's collection. So many people
it's just centered around collecting.
And then I think there's the element of which one of you do I trust? Like, there's so much out there.
Payments,
Doing kind of feels like doing the same thing.
funny enough, I think payments is still growing. Like payments, like market, like segment is still growing, like almost 13% year on year, which means we're coming from a point where I think there was a lot of cash, and now people are moving digital. So there's still opportunity. I think they're becoming slimmer, so you need to find a niche that works for you. So most of payment solutions will then couple in a few like services or features that differentiate them or target a specific niche market. The problem with that in Kenya is that the market is already too small.
Yeah.
So if you niche it down, it becomes unsustainable.
Niche over niche.
Like, yeah.
But is that a bad thing to build a niche of a niche?
Yeah, because
I mean, you can't scale it, yes, and stuff, but you're serving a...
Eventually, you want to make money.
Really?
I think depends with how much money you want to make.
Exactly. I think that is the answer. That is the answer.
But you also have operating costs, right?
No, you can actually build a
Yeah.
sustainable business.
Yes, I think you can.
I think the challenge is if you are aiming at VC level money, then you can't justify it from
Can
a
it
market
make a
this
comfortable
small.
income for yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think
so.
that definitely, like, look at this company. There's this company that you used to use, which that got lost with your money. What is it?
Another one. Which one? There have been many.
Popote.
Popote. Yeah, Popote is a brilliant product. I think they probably make a lot of money. But I think
Popote was, okay, I've not used it for a while, but it was a good product when I was using it. I'd never found, I needed an escrow account where I can, and then you can put, what do you call them, like standing orders. Because maybe you have to pay your housemaid, you have to pay certain things at the end of the month. So it triggers those payments, and the only thing you have to do is approve. As long as you have money.
It approves them.
Yeah, and it goes on to have other features where, let's say you have your gardener or your housemaid. Let's say they say there's no unga or there's no something. They can go to that system and say, I want 1,000 shillings for unga or something. Then it just appears to you that, so and so wants.
Approve.
Then you just...
That's dope.
Yeah, it was a brilliant product, but I think the problem is usually the market. The market is small. Niching it down, it means it only limits you to bootstrap. Because VCs will not, like, any VC will look at your deck and sees like 10 million, like, this is a joke. So any VC, like, who looks at a market that is less than 10, it is like, they close the deck.
But also VCs usually look for like a 5x return because they've also raised money.
10x at minimum. Like, that is like 100x the best. I think the thing is, it's also a numbers game. They're going to lose a lot of people, a lot of business. They're going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
So they have to capitalize on the ones that...
or the ones that make it make it
extremely high because it's a numbers game. I honestly, now I understand them. Sometimes I think when you remove, like, if you look at it objectively, I think there's no other way to run that business because you actually have to account for all these risks from the beginning.
Yeah.
Founders will break up. This business will not fly. Will not get product market
Can
fit.
VCs make money in Africa? The 10x?
Yeah, 10x.
50x?
Yeah, honestly.
I think they have to be patient. I think from what I've seen is businesses here take relatively long.
Very long.
To mature.
Yeah.
So if you are looking at the normal VC window of 5-7 years, then that's not really...
It's more than that. It's 15,
here,
20.
you look at least 15.
A generation.
Yeah, exactly, a generation, yeah.
But you see, they've also raised capital from other
Yes.
partners and so on. So they also have to find a way that balances that risk over that long time. Yeah. But they will eventually make money. I think Africa is big enough. Buying power might be lower, but I think there are segments of these markets.
But also exit options are also limited. Yeah, very few companies go to the securities exchange. Acquisitions. Now it's only profitability is the remaining.
Acquisitions are happening. I think acquisitions, especially in Africa, I think are the more easy like exit.
I agree. Kopo was bought out
by money point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the more realistic, especially for Africa, Kenya, will usually be acquisition.
Yeah.
But I think we've just seen recently Meta start doing like what do you call them, like dividends. So it might also be like just build a business, eventually just start pay people dividends and live a good life.
Well, anyway, but also the tech world in Africa is relatively young compared with
the America and stuff.
America. So by exiting, I think, let's see, we're asking yourself who has become profitable, right? Which company?
Yeah.
We're not aware yet.
Not yet.
So who has, the stock exchange, the securities exchange in Nairobi has not listed any company for 10 plus years. So only acquisitions exist in Kenya.
Yeah.
Okay. This is okay. Maybe acquisition is there.
I think actually, so the more I look at it and the more you study it, acquisitions
are actually, I think, a better strategy.
Yeah,
a viable strategy.
Yeah.
Especially for a market, especially if you're building fintech.
Exactly, yeah.
You are always aiming for like Safaricom or some other person.
So Nobuk, one of the...
Obviously, I think we have to think about how do our investors exit? How do we exit? What is the exit option for our investors? So acquisition is the more, I think, attainable one, because there's also going to be consolidation.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that consolidation, you are essentially looking at being bought out.
Yeah.
I think we entertained some buyout offer a while back, but I think it fell through. But obviously, that's the more easier route.
Yeah.
This is the right moment to note that when I got sued by Dande, we used Nobuk
to call for collections.
for collections. And
which reminds me that I've not completed the story, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The transition. Yeah, so we found the market very hard. The micro and small businesses are actually really hard. The problem exists. I think even a few days back, we got an influx of a few customers who were referred by a competitor who was shutting down. I was like, that tool still works. So
use them.
Go use them. So we are grateful. I think it's called Transsense of something. I can't remember the name, but it's a hard market to serve.
Yeah.
So one of the things we did is we looked at what is the thing that works for us, like what is the sticky thing part of this product that works, and realized that payment reconciliation is a huge thing.
Yeah.
It was actually at some point we knew that for 3 invoices, like if you sent 2 invoices and you are paid on those invoices, then you basically you will pay us for the next 3 months.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that was our metric. Like, have you shared an invoice? Because one feature we had on our invoice is that you could actually pay. So we had this feature of account to account. So we don't hold the money. The money goes, when you pay, it goes directly to the business's account or tail or whichever thing. So that enabled, when you shared, you had to pay and people paid you, then it goes there. So the moment you shared twice, we knew like, we have revenue for at least 2 months.
Oh, that's really smart. Yeah.
So we kept tracking that. Now, that is the feature that we felt like sticky enough.
So like an invoice generation.
Invoice generation. It's still our most used feature even now.
But I always say a lot of these SME platforms lack that one thing, like invoice generation, because it's
I think the problem with invoice generation is that you have to first think about some business need inventory.
Yeah.
So you have to work an inventory system so that you can serve the invoice.
Yeah.
Others that don't necessarily need that, they need to keep track of payments as well.
Yes.
So we were offering you, the tool helps you to basically not just send invoice, but also track the status of the payments of these invoices, which is a good thing for them. So I think that is one aspect.
Inventory. as well. Imagine if you had like Wangari, leave me.
We deliberately decided
don't
not
want.
to build inventory. Is really hard to build.
It is.
I was at a conference and one of, I think, our competitors, somebody was like, the inventory doesn't work. The math is wrong.
Yeah.
And getting inventory math is very wrong because there's all these things, FIFO, FILIFO, like there are so many things. Like
I remember
the way in which you do inventory.
I build inventory systems. If you want my help, I'm happy to help.
I remember while at Sandy, because Sandy had a CRM, no, it's not CRM,
Inventory management.
ERP system that was doing inventory management. That's when I realized inventory
It's
management
complicated.
is extremely complex.
But I think like if you look at for a small, like a micro and small business, like I do think you can get something.
But think
But
about
what is the guarantee they use? Like we had all these things, but you end up using one. So
You're a
taken the
builder,
effort.
been an MVP in like 2 weeks, my guy. I'm challenging you.
If you're a small business,
Yeah.
and every day you're buying items, let's say like milk.
Yeah.
Okay. So I bought this milk at, let's say 20 shillings, and I'm selling them at 25. Then the next day, the milk is 23 bob.
Yeah.
Now I have to sell
You have
it
to change the...
for that. Okay. Now, at the point of sale, you don't know whether you're selling the 23 bob one or you're selling the 20 bob one. So if you ask what's your average profit for the week or what's your average purchasing for the week, you start realizing there are very small
things.
on managing inventory.
Yeah, I think we deliberately, even if I'm supposed to build that, I
You're
can't
like, no.
build an inventory because it's very complex. I think but also the effort you have to put in is not commensurate with what you can charge the customer.
So true.
Yeah.
So that alone makes it like
a milk gets spoiled, okay, before selling. 2 packets bust.
Yeah.
You sell another one and the customer returns it.
Yeah.
Because so your inventory system has to cater for those
Much
returns,
taller things.
for those spoiled, for those for you to properly manage your inventory. You just realize that one is stolen by one somebody you don't know. Then you realize there's so much variation in inventory management that it's insane to track things in a warehouse. I don't know how Amazon does it. Oh,
yeah, I think that is their core business. So
Yeah.
they have to figure it out.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what we then decided is that this we can't serve everyone. So how do we niche down? So we decided, okay, we were going to go with making it easy to reconcile payments and receive payments wherever you want it. Now, we looked at, we can serve the small businesses still. That would be an option. But we realized that one of the things that was also problematic with the smaller businesses is that they can make decisions snap. They can make a snap decision to use your tool now. And they can make the same decision to
Not
move out
use
like exactly the same moment. So, and that makes your mini cycles, like your
Very
cash
difficult
cycles, very
business model.
difficult to model. So you can't actually model like
revenue prediction.
Revenue prediction is really hard. So we decided, okay, so we need something that holds you. Like the moment we know you, at least we can estimate a time limit that you're going to pay us. Because one of the things that I always still strongly feel against is the transactional costs. I think I have something against it personally, not like.
But Nobuk has transaction. I once donated money to Chris, and then they minus 5 dates. You guys have transaction fees?
No.
No.
We don't.
You have no transaction fees.
We don't do transaction fees.
No,
the money goes directly to your account, so we can't. The charges are charges that are levied by the owner of the till. Or
so it's him who's putting nonsense.
Yeah.
No, how do I put a charge on my till? If you send me 100 bob, I receive 95.
No, you see, because Safaricom has to take
so it's Safaricom to blame.
Yeah, so or banks or whichever tool. So
got you.
Yeah, because we actually don't hold any money. We just initiate the transaction. And then whatever charges are levied by the termination where your payments terminate, that's what you pay.
That's what
Yeah. So I think one of those issues with payments, we realize that, okay, how do we make that somebody to pay, okay, how do we make business to stick with us for a longer time? We don't want to charge transaction charges, so we want to stick with the SaaS fees. But how do we make this predictable? So we realized that one group that has largely been unserved is essentially groups. So when we talk about groups, I think the standard is to think about it in terms of chamas, which are
shamas,
great.
Groups,
but I think there's group for everything. Like there's,
Yep.
I've seen
baby shower bridal
group. I've seen like a wedding
groups.
group.
Yeah, the mini.
And
we love
all
groups.
these fundraisers happen on WhatsApp.
Yep.
All of like 100% of them happen on WhatsApp. And we realized that one function that could help us with that stickiness is if there's two levels of value, like there's value for the collector or the treasurer, as we now call them, and there's also value for the person paying. So in a chama, in an instance like for a chama, I am interested in knowing how much I've contributed cumulatively.
Yeah.
This information right now, you have to talk to the treasurer.
The treasurer.
And the treasurer will tell you, I'll download.
Busy. I have to
Data per
log in.
bank, I've not gone to the bank.
Yeah.
Or he sends you the whole statement for the year and you're like,
Boss.
which transaction was that? Because banks are also not great at recording, categorizing those transactions. So that's problematic. So if we solve that problem for you who is paying and the treasurer still gets his money in the bank.
Visibility, transparency,
then that's to do a value. So the treasurer can't just check because you'll be like, why are you checking? Like we're getting value here. So we thought that is a good. But
so
that is to mention.
If the group has access to like the collection, you can see everyone's like who's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember for the Dande collection.
Oh yeah.
You could see the progress bar. There's a progress bar that every time.
Then if you look down, it has the individual.
It had like top contributors.
Top contributors. So we've customized it a bit, but it has like for different types of collections. So you'll find different terms used for different templates really cool. that you use. So like funerals, of course, we wanted have top contributors, like it will be something different. Yeah, but essentially what it helps you do is how do you share that information easily? Because you're on WhatsApp. So can you easily one click share to WhatsApp?
Yeah.
And to get that information. And now you also have a way to in which you can actually download your own statements and see, okay, this is how much I've contributed and so on and so forth.
There is an article that was shared by Ori Okolo. She does this Sunday Reads thing on Twitter. And she had, I think last week, I'm not sure, or the other week, where she said the rise of WhatsApp as being the place that generates a lot of leads, either for if you want to read or for businesses. Because right now I think I'm in like 4 groups that donate every day. Some for like needy students. And that group gets so noisy. I have to mute. I feel like if someone could just be sharing, you need to invade those groups.
Yeah.
So
essentially, I think when you think about this product, the thing is invading that group, you need another strategy. So I won't talk about it. But the reality is the reason why there are very many Chama apps or
there are very many
apps.
Yeah.
One of the reason when you look at, I think there's this paper, I think 2009, just talking about distribution and diffusion, the chasm of death. Like the reason why.
I see where you're friends. That was just a Chris moment right there.
What is a Chris moment?
The reason why some products will cross between a few usage or like early adopters to now widespread use depends largely on how many, how do you call it, like early visionaries you have in these groups.
Yeah.
So for our product, we realize that the groups we want to serve are chamas, the small ones in your WhatsApp group.
Those are the
but
ones.
How do we reach them?
Yeah.
So you have to almost create another product to do it. Fortunately, our product offers that. So when you look at our site, the people actually give us a lot of like customers are fundraisers, like a church fundraiser. Or sometimes it's funeral. Actually, funerals are also great because we tend to bring in a lot of people. And then those people, once they've used it, they're like, I like this app. And then
Let me
so that's how now they go into the smaller groups. Reaching those smaller groups has always been the problem and why most of the other apps will suffer with traction.
Yeah.
Because how do you reach that group? They are not like a unit, or they are not in one place where you'll find them. I remember the first day when we knew this is the group we want to serve. So I went to the IDEOS, all the like the district offices have like an officer. It's called social officer or something like. Well, the main role is basically register groups. So I was like, okay, can I go get a list of these groups from these people and call them and spam them? I realized that it's a good thing. So we got a few, not many, but the problem is you're coming from a more regulatory side of things. They look at you as more like a regulator.
Yeah.
So the way they buy into your product is very different. So some group member bought in, they were like, yeah, we had a case with our treasurer who stole our money. And like for them, it's an easy sell. But for most people also go there, they also go to register. So they're not anticipating that the treasurer will run away with their money.
Yeah.
And they, in any case, they feel like this will just cause a lot of friction with the treasurer and so on. So we realized that route is not the best. So we have to almost find another way. So as I was this customer that I was talking about, you have to find a product that helps you cross. Like when Apple started, what they did is just had like they were entering a market that is already saturated.
Yeah.
But what they did is just have white earplugs.
And you can see.
You could see visual.
Yeah, this one's different.
This is different.
Yeah.
And that's how they crossed over. So you almost need a product that
stands
other people
out.
can use, that stands out, or but can still be used. Somebody can look at it and it's like, okay, discoverability is high.
Yeah.
So essentially, that's what we are trying to do with our product. I think distribution. So we are in social media, but we are not very active. I think we are mostly talking with the groups.
Yeah.
Do you have templates? For example, if I say I want to, this is a funeral course, then the setup is different from a wedding.
Yeah. So we template the backend is the same. So what we try to do is eventually it will just be like a ChatGPT platform. Like I want to raise money for my mom, and then it will basically do that.
Cool.
But for now, what we've done is just done templates. And then when you say funeral, of course, it will just ask you, so when is the burial and so on. And then, boom, you have the template. Really, like everything is set up. All the customization needed is ready. But you can still take a funeral like template and still customize it to a business. Like it's still one platform.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, for example, you say like maybe you don't want to show top contributors. Maybe a funeral, you want to always keep the image of the person there.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's a school fee thing.
Is a different, so every template has a way in which it manifests on the dashboard. So you won't see like a donation, you'll see like top funders or the contributors.
Yeah.
But when you're collecting for a ticket, it will just show you tickets and so on like that. Like, so the customer is that way.
Question, what's the KYC process like? How do you onboard people? Because, sometimes some of this like M-Pesa tails, if like say you're raising like for a family member, I find like their KYC so...
Yeah, actually connecting to that question, remember that famous M-changa problem?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Where this fake couple came up with a case that she's a single mother and she's been abandoned by the boyfriend. Now she's struggling. And then people donated about 800K. And then they went drinking with that money and then... In their own drunken stupor, they started taking, was it TikTok or I don't know, photos how they're enjoying people's money. No, I didn't withdraw it yet. Someone ratted them out. So apparently, the boyfriend pushed the girlfriend to go get some random baby and put a course, and then they were going to split the money. Wow. And M-changa cancelled that particular donations, and all that money was reversed to everyone who donated, because now that was a case of fraud.
Yeah. And then is like M-changa a competitor to you, or?
They are. I think in a sense they are. I think the way we look at ourselves is that there's two ways in which you deal with problem of group collection. So there are closed groups. Like I and 6 people. They are not going to be 7th person. They're just a chama of 6.
Yeah.
So that place, M-changa doesn't do well.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. Yeah, you're right.
Now, there's another place where I just want to raise money from
For an event.
an event from a lot of people.
Yeah.
M-changa does
that
well.
perfectly well. Yeah.
Now, what we've done is that we bring all those together. So you can do it for your small groups, 5 people, and you can do
When
it
you have
for,
it like
for
an
this.
event. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the issue of, so in a sense, they are, if you look at it from the segment of like fundraising, but if you look at it from generally, because there are two spectrum we look at it. So bookkeeping, or just how do you record transaction, reconciliation, and ease of raising money, or ease of collecting money. So M-changa will do well in ease of collecting money, but not too well in how do I reconcile the data and transparency. So it doesn't do that well. Now, what we try to do is that we want to be in both. The reason why that is important is, like I said, for distribution, it is important that you are cross. Because groups, products, once I have a group that works, it's very hard for me to know that you're in another group, so that I sell for you M-changa or another app X, right?
Yeah.
So you need a product that then can sell itself in that way.
Yeah.
So actually, our biggest growth, sort of like channel, is actually virality. Like somebody will tell another person, like you see it running, and then you run it, and the people collecting rent with it.
That's the best old school marketing.
Yeah.
I think I went and checked, this was a while back, top M-changa contributions. They're all churches.
Oh, wow.
They're all churches. 10 million, 5 million here.
Oh, wow.
There. So I felt they found their
niche and their target demographic.
In churches. Maybe that's why we don't see them a lot.
No. But in reality, also, if you are looking to raise money, who does that? Like the people who actually do welfare or collect money to do something are churches. Like, I don't think there's an organization will come out like maybe an orphanage or something like once in a while. But in reality, all fundraisers will always be for social good or benefit,
and churches do
welfare.
That very well.
That is the core of churches. So
in Africa, because now in the US, that Kickstarter, because it's similar now. It's similar like Kickstarter.
True.
Where now you want to build a nuclear fusion in your bedroom, and you want 60K USD to try that out.
It will grow into that, So, but the problem, I think, the one that maybe I want to speak about, the KYC, the KYC part. So, one of the things that I think we are trying to do is how do you make it visible for somebody before they pay that this is the person you're going to do. We can't do all the KYC because we are not holding the money.
Oh, yeah,
so
I got you.
In a sense, even the message channel you receive is not from us, like M-Pesa.
Yeah.
Like, somebody can use M-Pesa.
Which, if it was the M-changa example, it would be quite difficult.
Yeah.
Because if you have a fraudulent campaign and then you need the money to be reversed, you can't do that because you're not the custodian.
We can't reverse. So what we try to do now is that we have now a button that once you pay and you realize that this message is fraudulent or something, you report it, and then that link is shut down. So that's the only recourse we can have. The beauty of it is that, unlike M-changa, because M-changa, the thing is, it will go into one central account, so the message will be the same.
Oh, yeah.
But in this case, you'll actually receive a message from the bank saying, okay, this is the account.
Yeah.
So you know actually the end
the receiver.
customer, the receiver.
Okay, so you take it up with the bank.
So you can take it up with the bank, you can take it up with M-pesa.
Police, everyone.
So on,
Fantastic.
So that helps.
I like your product, by the way.
Thank you.
Where's the link for this channel? Please donate.
Chris has.
You guys are not stick enough.
Wow.
No. The reality of it is that we have a lot of businesses using the app, but the truth is, I think if you look at it, the business that gain, like there are some 5-tour companies using it out of Mara.
Yeah.
For them, the thing is, how can I receive payments easily into my bank account? So it helps them with that. But long term, they'll find another thing that also works for them,
Yeah.
So while we are happy to receive the money, but we know sometimes there's that stickiness. For your channel, maybe I don't know.
No
if you're
one
receiving donations.
Hey, go to my channel. Check a link.
Nobuk.
No, there was another comment by a producer that the link provided there does not seem like a donation link. It is docs.nobuk.
Yeah.
It feels like a Google Doc.
Yeah, it does, by the way.
So it should be something like donate
to Chris. Like personalize that.
Yeah.
URL.
So if I put it there, someone knows that this is a
This is what it
But it
is.
feels like this is like a Google Docs for my next my screen.
Yeah, I think the problem of the legacy systems, I think we're still running the same, but definitely I think it's something that can be easily
like
changed.
tiny URLs.
Yeah, we will definitely do that. I think when we built that link, actually the same link, like that same docs, if you put in an invoice code, it will actually show you an invoice.
Oh, wow.
So it was actually meant to be things for invoices, receipts, and then
So
this
just
came along and
pivot
like
in and just trying.
pushed it to
Let's
there
see.
as well. Like, so
Understand.
I think maybe we need to rename it so that it doesn't look like docs.
Yeah.
Or have another like a tiny URL thing that wraps up on that. So there's that docs that you can still use for the invoicing and other things. And then now on the system, I can generate my own tiny URL. Like donate.chris.
Yeah.
And
then that's what I post, but it's linked to that.
So the customization one is coming. I think what we did is just, I think it's also discovery. This product is just 6 months in the market.
Oh, wow.
So it's not like a long time.
Yeah.
So we know eventually those are some of the things that we're thinking about. How do I customize my link? Because some of those alpha things sometimes are hard to even remember. So how do we bring that? But I think it's in the product roadmap at some point. Yeah.
Amazing. How big is your team?
We are lean or capital efficient.
Capital efficient. Yeah.
That's the new.
Hey, it's a new. I've learned a new one.
That's the new word for being broke.
Yeah. We have 2 developers and 2 co-founders. So.
Are you still with the same co-founder from Antler?
Yeah. This shows. So yeah, she stepped out.
She stepped out to go drink water.
Yes. Yeah, I think as we evolved, I think there are things that became apparent. Especially, I think she was a little bit, I would say, vested in the previous product.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So when we had to shift, we had to pivot. She didn't quite buy into the new product. She felt like she couldn't support it enough. I think. So in that sense, she stepped down.
Okay.
Yeah, to do the commercialization part, I think all founders have to be commercial in a sense, but speciality in that area is very helpful. Helps you get partnership because there's so much that when I think of our growth, it's like a flywheel. When you start, you have to put in a lot of energy. And that energy sometimes is not viral. Like I only know a few groups, so those ones probably I'll go in. But we need a way in which you can get partnerships that get us to 100 groups, 1,000 groups, and so on. So we needed a founder who can at least help us attract that
CCO,
kind of
Chief Commercial Officer.
Yes.
Or just someone who can sell.
Or someone who can sell or make partnerships.
Makes partnership.
Yeah, maybe not. Sell. I think
It's
partnership and sell is the same.
yeah,
I suppose.
just selling.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, cool. I don't think I have any other questions. Have we talked about? I think we've talked about the challenges that you faced along the journey. Is there anything we haven't touched on or discussed?
Yeah. I think founding, especially.
Are they profitable?
Oh yeah, good question. We want to know your numbers. And are you actually looking for funding or investors? Because sometimes we
Yeah,
have
yeah, I
people in
think-
this channel who watch, by the way.
Get money.
They got money.
Got money. Yeah, we are currently raising. So
How much are you raising? How much are you looking to?
we are raising to, I think, an extension of about 150K
US dollars or Kenya shillings?
US dollars. Yeah,
Hey, you gotta ask, man.
US dollars.
Ugandan shillings.
150K.
Yeah, 150K. But I think we can discuss that. I think once we reach out, we can see how that works. We will, I think, do another round later in the year or
Okay.
early next year.
Are you profitable? What are your metrics?
We are making money.
You're making money.
Yeah,
Congrats.
or as they call it, post revenue. Yeah, we are sustainably growing. I think our cost of acquisition is really low because
Yeah.
most of our growth is from networks that
Yeah.
people viral
And keep at
networks.
that. I think that's very.
Yeah, so I'd say our numbers are growing, but I think if you contextualize it, it's just 6 months, so we are still not hitting the moon, but we're heading there.
And you want to reach the moon?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's why essentially we are raising
Yeah.
to basically be able to build, scale the technology, scale the team, and also I think just one of our growth channels is essentially events. So how to get into some of those, it costs money.
To events.
Yeah, I think events, partnership with events,
Okay, gotcha.
also help us to grow.
Yeah, I
also
think that
show
like a
people see.
national convention of chairmans, where chairmans meet at the end of the year and discuss their problems.
Okay.
Then you do a product placement.
Yeah, so numbers, I think right now we've done our 500 collection, the 500th collection. So,
Transaction.
No, collection is like that thing you call a group. So you can create many of them, by the way. So
Or
you can have
500 groups.
No.
like it could be those 500 are, I think, from maybe 200 groups.
So one
200
group can
individuals.
have 2 collections.
Yes.
Yeah, you can have many. Some group have
So how many groups do you have in total?
about 300 now.
Oh wow. And where are they located mainly? Is it like, or is it kind of
Our
widespread?
target is actually urban
Urban.
treasurers. So mostly urban groups. I know our product, there are some I think there's some 2 village groups also using it, thereabout. But our target really are people on WhatsApp who don't have to struggle about bundles or have access to a way in which they can share that information easily. So we mostly target urban group treasurers. So that tend to be around Nairobi, Mombasa. We have a few in Kisumu. There are quite a number of them in Nakuru as well.
And you're just thinking of like, you right now it's just Kenya.
The problem of groups is everywhere in Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
The next I would probably go to Ethiopia. I think they are really group centric. They're up there. But yeah, for now it's Kenya.
Just Kenya. So you have about 300 groups. You're on the 500th transaction. Any other metrics you want to share for interested?
We are growing.
You're great.
Yeah, like everyone looks for a hockey stick. I think we are almost getting there, but yeah.
Okay. Would you sell it? Nobuk. If someone
Exit. We just talk about
yeah, sale
acquisition.
that is open.
Yeah, I think right price at the right time.
Right price at right time.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but I think there's still a lot of things to flesh out before we are at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything?
Nothing.
That was amazing. I really love your entrepreneurial. You definitely have that entrepreneurial spirit. And to the viewers who are watching, like if you have a group, a small group, like check out Nobuk. I believe this is
Collect.
how we'll grow businesses like this. And if you're an investor as well, reach out to Elvis. But thanks for watching. And if you have any comments or suggestions or other people we could talk to. Leave it in the comment. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Peace out.
Oh, and I forgot. Thank you, members.
9 to 5 has good vibes, but 9 to 5 with Ngari has better.